Hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm gonna try to do this as one take. I did run into some problems. You're gonna see them throughout the video. First problem was the cross member on the truck. I had it flipped on the wrong side. I wish I had a model truck, but I just have Paul Walker's GTR toy. Anyways, obviously in the OBS above the firewall, there's a little mark indentation right above the firewall, what tells you where the center of the truck is. If just like this, right? When you pop the hood right above the firewall, there's a little indentation just like this. The problem I ran into was when I put the cross member in. Mine's the one that curves. One side curves. I know some people think the older ones are straight, which is fine. You know, the hole ends up in the middle for the bolt for the transmission to go in. So you can flip it around and still be good. Mine's a newer one, between I think 95, 96 years, I believe, and newer. The end of it curves. Just be sure whenever you put it in to measure from frame to the hole and make sure it's even on both sides. That's when I did my research. That's what you're supposed to do. In the video, I put it on wrong, and the hole was to the driver's side by 5 to 6 inches. So when I thought that the transmission was crooked a little bit, I went ahead and forced it up, and I moved it all the way over into the hole. So obviously it was just like, see, this is straight. So the motor was in like this, obviously facing towards the driver's side, and the transmission towards the passenger side. So it was like, you know, diagonal. Because I was looking at the dirty dingo mounts. These sliders were all the way back, and these sliders were all the way forward. Well, almost. And I knew there was something going on. So I went back, checked that out. I tried like moving the engine hoist, see if I could move it back in. It wouldn't budge. So I went back in, and I noticed, you know, the transmission was hitting the top of the firewall, and it was towards the driver's side. So I went ahead and lifted up the transmission, which I shouldn't have, because when I did that, it popped out of the hole, because the screw goes into the hole, right? You know, say this is a hole, it goes in. When I popped it out, it jerked this way, and good thing it didn't fall on me, because I was underneath the truck, and I put in a wood right above the jack, because I don't have a transmission jack. I just use a regular, you know, car jack, because I don't think anybody's, you know, gonna have a transmission jack. So I went in and put a wood on top of the jack to lift up where the drive shaft goes in, that part of the 4L60E. So when I had a piece of block of wood, it slid right next to the wood. So thankfully it was there. It lifted the wood up, hit the top of the truck where the bell housing is. So it didn't fall on me, good thing. So I just moved the jack. You know, I had like a piece of plywood underneath, so I wouldn't hit the gravel, because I got gravel. So I jerked it back real quick. Keep it, you know, keep it level so it won't fall and move. And I went ahead and unscrewed the bolts for the cross member transmission, flipped it around real quick. On the driver's side, gotta be careful with the wires, because there's wires, there's the brake line that goes through there. So the way you want to do it is go ahead and lift up the passenger side, smack it into the frame, obviously, and then you want to, you know, angle it back, and then lift into the frame, because the frame is like a notch like this. So whenever you stick it in this notch, lift it up, obviously you'll be diagonal, because if you have it straight, it'll hit here. So you have it diagonal, and then lift it in, and watch, move the wires. You're gonna have to use this hand, get in there, move the wires, because the brake line sits right here in the middle. Wires sit right here at the bottom. Obviously those wires are for your tail lights, so you don't want to mess with them. So you lift them up with this hand, lift up the cross member with this hand, slide it in, make sure the wire's on top, then put your bolts in. One thing I noticed with the cross member, when you put the bolts in, I put mine through the top, there's like a 1/4 inch of play. And I feel like that's why people be struggling with the IC2 billet mounts, because the hole, you know, it doesn't move. It just stays there, you know, versus the sliders, the dirty dingo mounts, they slide. You know, you got like 5 inches of travel, you know, front and back. So I feel like that's what people don't realize, that when they bolt it in, they don't push it all the way back. And then if you don't push it 1/4 inch all the way back, you might have problems with the drive shaft. You might problems with the holes for the ICT billets. Let me go grab them so I can show y'all real quick. Oh yeah, here's the ICT billet mounts. I was gonna run these before the dirty dingos because they're cheaper. I mean, I'll be honest. But I didn't because I didn't find that much information on the Facebook group, the OBS swap Facebook group. No one showed a picture of where the actual holes to the block go. Because I know, well, these ones are the ones to the block. But these ones for the ones that, how you say, go to the clamshell. So use the original clamshell.
Alright, y'all. Sorry, y'all. I had like a midterm today and I had to take 2 classes for school. So yeah, I'm pretty tired, and plus I've still got homework to do after this. I mean, I got paperwork over there. So the problem with these is obviously with the transmission mount, you have a 1/4 inch of play, and I feel like that's what people run into problems whenever you try to bolt up the clamshells. I mean, they're not like the sliders where you can slide the bolt when it's on the block. So I really don't suggest going with these, because even on the ICT billet page on YouTube, whenever you go to their page, all their comments are disabled for these. So if you have questions or anything, you can ask them. You can't let other people know that problems you ran into. And on the Facebook group is like, what holes do we go with and this and that. So a lot of people don't give that information out. So yes, they're cheaper, but you're gonna have a lot of problems down the road. So I would not suggest these at all. Just don't run them. Just go with sliders. I mean, they're the go-to. Everybody does not have any problems with them, you know. Yes, they're expensive, but they're really worth it at the long run. Because if you try to get these, you're gonna run into problems here and there. You're gonna run into problems with what you can run and what you can't run. Because obviously when you have the clamshells on this, it does lift the engine, you know, a little bit. So who knows, if you're trying to run a Hollywood high ram, I'm told that you can't run these because that's how high it lifts the whole engine on the OBS. Versus the dirty dingo mounts, the slider is the clamshell. It already has pieces sticking up, and then it hooks up to the motor mount. Versus these, you have to get the clamshell, which already lifts it up a couple inches, so you're gonna run into problems there. So yeah, that's my bit on it. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, y'all, I'm back. I tried to set it on the wheelbarrow. It bends from down here, and I can't even deadlift it. I'm trying to like lift barely. I can't do it. So what I went ahead and did, and move some rocks, and then we just do that section by section, little by little, until I at least get it onto the plywood. Keep you updated. Alright, y'all, I'm getting somewhere with this. I went and bought this plywood. It's a 4x8. Paid 40 bucks for it. Set it there. It is pretty thick. I'd say it's a 1/2 inch, my bad, 1/2 inch. I'm setting it on the tire, and as I lower it, I move the engine hoist. I'm gonna move this leg on top of this one, drop it, move the engine, and just keep going with it. Alright, y'all, I'm almost there. A lot of moving. Wheels keep getting stuck between the plywood. I suggest if you're gonna build your motor outside or put it together, do it in front of your truck. Especially if you have gravel. Oh boy, that sucked. But basically, I'm gonna stop for today. I'm gonna sit on the tire right here just so tomorrow, and obviously move this plywood here, and tomorrow lift it up, put it in. See y'all tomorrow, which is gonna be a few seconds. All right, y'all, I am back. About to go ahead and get the tarp off. Got going to town. Hopefully I do not hit the truck or that truck, but I'm gonna do my best to push it in. Hope y'all enjoy. Well, y'all, it's hailing.
Oh, this is Texas for y'all. It'll be bright, but still rain. But I'm gonna keep going. Well, I got stuck in the bag on the wheel, and it looks, the hoist wants to fall off, so I'm trying to like push it over there, but yeah, wheels are off on this side. See how that goes. I went ahead and ripped off the bag, and I used this pry bar to pry it over, so see how it goes. Using the power steering. Yeah. Worst part about this is that I'm going uphill. Yeah.
disc keeps breaking off. It's leaking. Wires are all over the place. I need to get them up here somehow. I'll be right back. Alright, y'all, went ahead and got a strap and hooked on the wires. So now I should go straight in without hitting the wires. Problem I have is that the motor is way to the right. I have a lot of space here and I'm trying to push it over here. about to go ahead and try to level it out and then dunk it out onto the mounts. Alright, y'all, for the dirty dingo mounts, once it's already in, slide the bolt right through with your stock motor mounts. There you go. You just want to tighten them up, and then after you get your transmission in the right position with your stock transmission frame or whatever you call it, then you go ahead and tighten up the ones that connect to the motor. So you want to tighten up these last, but always tighten up these first. All right, everybody, quick little update. Sorry about the noise. I have set in the dirty dingo mounts on the motor mounts. I went ahead and tightened them up before I tightened up the transmission frame. This, you should have all your original hardware. Unless you want to reuse it for whatever reason, go ahead. Kept mine here. Even the single bolt for the transmission mount. Obviously, once you bolt, once you bolt this up to the original position, then you could go ahead and lift up the transmission into here. Once it's in there, then you tighten up the nut. Once it's in position, then you want to go ahead and tighten up these bolts for the dirty dingo mounts. And that's everything. Oh. Okay, see you on the next one. All right, y'all. Don't be like me and install a cross member wrong. It actually is flipped. I installed it with the curved side this way, which moved the whole transmission all the way over here. So throughout the video, I installed it this way, which is wrong. Just flip it over and you won't have any problems. So right now I'm in the, how I say, have it all jacked up, but I just flip it over, we install the bolts. And the only thing different, I am adding a washer to the actual transmission mount bolt, just because I don't trust how it's just a little bolt. Not how you say it. It's just a little nut in that bolt. So I'm about to just add a washer just to be safe. All right, y'all. I'm underneath the transmission. I went ahead and put in the transmission cross mount. This is the side that, mine is the one that curves. I know I've seen some videos where people's are straight. The side that curves is on the driver's side, and the best way to install it is go ahead and install it from that side. When you put it in, lift up this harness with the cross member and then stick it in, and then from that side you want to go ahead and drag it all the way in an angle, go above the frame, and then slide it in. That's the best way I did it. Obviously I'm using a piece of wood on top like a car jack. That's the best way to help me out. Obviously for my Toyota Camry, and I just roll it up, get it above. Now I'm gonna do my best to try to set it down. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. All right, y'all gonna need a deep socket 18, deep socket 15. This is for the actual transmission mount bolt that goes onto the cross member. You need a deep socket 15. You also need a 18 wrench. The plan is, let me show y'all from this side. Okay, the plan is to get these bolts in first, align the cross member, and then get the, obviously tighten them up because this goes nowhere. Then drop the actual, I guess the bolt, not the bolt, but the actual screw for the transmission mount. Then put it into the hole and then tighten this up. Once all these are tightened up, then I'm gonna go back and tighten up the actual motor mount. Once the transmission is all bolted up, then you want to go ahead and bolt up these bolts. Alright, y'all, don't forget to clean up bolts and hardware that you're gonna reuse. These are old.
I'm just using some simple green and some water, diluted simple green. You let them soak for a minute. You see how that's gray? That's black. See that? Obviously, when you're installing them, this little rubber piece goes in to the top, just like that. You have the bolt, goes in right to the top. This nut goes right underneath. Alright, y'all, I went in and got the bolts in. I went in and got the other side in too. You want to do that first because you don't want to tighten up one side because it might be off. Like this side could be pulled this way and on the other side could be turned just a little bit. So just make sure they're in. See, I mean, this transmission bus member has a lot of movement. See that? I mean, you're talking about like a 1/4 inch of movement. So just to be on the safe side, push it all the way back on both sides. Just cause, you know, I still got the stock drive shaft to put in and everything else. So just push it all the way back. Obviously, you got 30 dingo mount sliders. It'll be fine. You just push it all the way back, tighten up one corner, pushing that side, turn it all the way back, tighten up the other corner, just snug, and then snug up the other two, and then, you know, I have no idea what the torque specs are for these, so I'm gonna just do like 3 ugga-duggas, you know, with the impact. All right, y'all, I went ahead and snug them all down. I could not get the impact in here, so I had to do it the original way. So yeah, now it's time to get the transmission in. Problem is, let me get a light. All right, y'all, here I am on the driver's side. Here's a screw from the transmission mount. The hole is about 5 inches to the driver's side. So, yeah. So I have to lift it a little bit more and then move it all the way over there. So yeah, I mean, here it is. Look at that. So I have to lift it more and then move it over. And it shouldn't be a problem, but let's see how it goes. I'm probably gonna get the jack on this part right here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get the jack maybe here and then move it over, because this jack has wheels, and then the jack I'm using over here, obviously, you know, it can't be moved. So yeah, my best bet, keep that one where it is, lift it from this side and then roll it, and obviously drop it down, and should be fine. And then obviously bolting it up. The problem is, it's just a little bolt with no washer. So I'm about to go to Lowe's real quick, get some washers, because I don't like the fact that it's just one bolt just chilling there. So I'm gonna get like a wide washer and tighten it down. It'll be way better than just a little bolt, because yeah, it's a lot of torque that this motor is gonna be pushing. So yeah, definitely gonna be putting a washer there. All right, y'all, this is the method I'd used. Just move it side to side, lifted it up, move it over the 5 inches. I dropped it in. Problem, it does squeeze the vent tube up there for the transmission. So just be aware, I mean, it's just a vent tube. So for the transmission, it goes up there. So it just squeezes that. Other than that, it's fine. This clearance, it's all good. Woohoo. Now I just gotta go buy the washer, tighten it up, and it's all ready to go. From here on out, once the bolt's tightened from the transmission, I gotta go to Lowe's, get the washer. Then you go ahead and tighten up these bolts, the ones that connect the dirty dingo mounts to the actual block. And then after that, tighten up these bad boys right over here. Obviously this one, no idea what's going on there. Probably have to fix that or something. Oh yeah, I went and looked into it. I did tighten up these bolts, so I'm going to loosen them up, let the motor sit down,
See, this side has a gap on this, and then this side you could barely see it on the camera, but it's a barely little bit of a hole. So plan is to go ahead and loosen that up. Obviously drop it, let it, you know, drop it basically, and go from there. Yeah, I mean, because this side is pushed all the way back. Let's see if I get the camera just so I can see how I explain it. See, it's pushed all the way back. This side, it's a quarter of the way. It still has a lot of room here, and I'm looking at it. The engine is turned this way, the engine's turned that way. It's gonna be hard to see. I think that's a better way of looking at it. It's turned this way. So yeah, if I loosen up them bolts, move it around a little bit. Obviously you gotta jack it up too, keep your little. All right, y'all, I went ahead and did the transmission cross member. I had to flip it, well, not really flip it, but I had to turn it around, and now it's even. See, this OBS has this mark where it marks the middle. This is already the middle, and I'm already looking at it. Middle, and obviously this mark back here, right above the bell housing, straight on. I did nick this side. I've seen a few other people, they hit right here in this area too, so that's normal when you're doing a swap. If you're doing it yourself, if you have like a professional shop, whatever, I mean, if you're paying 10 to 15 grand for a lift swap, I mean, you better tell them to repaint your truck. They do something like that. But I mean, it's my backyard, gravel, wood, what do you expect? Yeah, here it is. Next thing I'm gonna do is obviously tighten up these bolts. Once I set it down, I mean, there's still tension here, so I'm gonna set it down, tighten up these bolts, and then go ahead and tighten up the actual from the dirty dingo mounts to the actual block. So yeah, there it is, y'all, for this one. After this, the next video is going to be putting in the headers and all the accessories and the AC. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all go ahead and like and subscribe. Appreciate it.